Keith Bradford has been carrying the mail in North Bay for the last 9 years. He's seen a lot of different weather conditions in the city and a lot of road and sidewalk conditions. He says it's never been worse than the winter of 2017-2018, and lately he has been going to social media to raise his concerns.
The week I sent in a letter because my carriers have been complaining to me about delivery. They're sore and they're tired at the end of the day. I mean, this is our where we work, and they're having troubles at the end of the day. They go home, they're totally bagged, and it's because of the road conditions. So as local president, I sent in a letter to the paper and just started saying, like, the road conditions are pretty terrible, and people in North Bay have just started rallying behind that and standing up and agreeing with me.
I mean, you've been doing this for a number of years in North Bay. Is this the worst it's been?
This is the worst I've seen it in North Bay. This is the worst I've seen it anywhere. I've delivered in different cities around Ottawa, Gatineau, Hull, and here in North Bay for the last 8 or 9 years. This is absolutely the worst conditions I've ever seen.
And you talk about, the wear and tear on the carriers. I mean, there's also the safety issue I'm sure they've been expressing some concerns about.
Well, the safety issue with our job is slips and falls are some of our biggest accidents at work, and this is where we get hurt the most at this time of year. We're careful. We have the tools to do our job, but when we're working in conditions like this, it just exponentially creates a greater problem for us.
And obviously, you've got a lot of different streets that you've taken some pictures of and sent in, and because this isn't an isolated incident, in your opinion, an isolated problem.
This isn't my route. This is all of our routes, and this is all of our city where this is happening. It's not just, if it's one street or one sidewalk that's a bit of an issue, that can be addressed. What I'm hearing in the media is councillors are saying they're getting all sorts of calls, and they're fielding calls left, right, and center from all these complaints all over the city. It's not just one area, it's the whole city. I know crews are out there doing the very best that they can do, but when they're given instructions for bare minimum standards, it's not enough for our city.
Chris Main is on City Council and has been hearing plenty of complaints of late. He says the city is doing the very best it can do under the current situation and circumstances.
We hear comments and concerns from people around the community. It's to try and find out specifically what the concerns are. If it's a sidewalk, if it's the roadway. The one thing that has changed in terms of our winter road maintenance standards over the last few years is the use of salt. Province requires that we file a salt management plan, essentially trying to use a little bit less salt in some roadways where we can. For the most part, that's been the residential class 4 and class 5 roads. And we really don't salt in a lot of the residential streets anymore at all, which means it does tend to cake up January and February when there's been snowfall. And at this time of the year, as it starts to melt, that snow becomes mushy, and then it refreezes and mushes, and it is challenging to drive on as it alternates between hard packed to slippery conditions.
But is there anything you can do to get crews out more often?
So it's a balancing act, but at the end of the day, road safety is paramount. That's what the crews are always looking at. Our own transit staff are constantly on the roads reporting conditions back around the city as they find them. If there's an area that they feel is a concern, is particularly icy or unsafe, they let our public works crews know right away.